This weekend, we saw undoubtedly the greatest discus throwing competition in history. At a simple glance, we got 3 throws further than the previous world record by 2 separate men, an outright American record in the women's, and 5 other men over 70 meters in this one competition. Do you understand how out of this world that is? In the last 40 years, only one other time have we seen 5 men over 70 meters in the span of an entire year. And they've gone and done it in a single competition. And it would all kick off from the very first round. The British record holder Lawrence Okoye would kick things off with a tame 3 meter personal best, an extension to his own British record.
70-76, Lawrence Okoye has broken the 70 meter best.
His old record mark came from 2012, and he just obliterated it first attempt. 7 years in the NFL, and 6 years chasing that mark, dude can't even tell whether to laugh or cry. Then, the very next thrower, another casual 70 meter missile by Sam Mattis, swaggering over the board just to be told he's demolished his personal best and is now centimeters shy from the American record. A record from 1981. Already, 2 70 meter throws deep, and the current world record holder, Mikolas Alekna, is seen preparing to launch a dang nuke.
This but Mikolas Alekna. Oh, he likes that one.
Tell.
Right away, he liked that one.
A 74.89 world record, first attempt, and he can't even offer a smile, just a double thumbs up and an absent-minded fist bump.
Piece of cake, huh? Piece of cake.
And yeah, while we get some big throws in between, after hucking 2 more fouls, Alekna would run it back in the 4th round, showing us why he was so nonchalant with his last effort. It's because it was easy.
Put that way out there. I think it came back in though.
Oh, baby.
An egregious 75.56. In terms of discus world records, this is about 4 decades worth of progress in 30 minutes, which makes it so unbelievably misfortunate for Australia's Matt Denny, who round 5 missed out on making history for himself by said 30 minutes.
That's big. That's really big.
This is just ridiculous. 74.78, a world record if Alekna had happened to wake up sick today. Before this weekend, most of these men hadn't even hit 70 meter marks, and now they're just demolishing them for fun. And in the women's, the incredible Val Allman, undefeated through 2024, had heard the rumour of this magic meet and made the trip this time round. Instantly demolished her personal best by over 2 meters, a new American record, and the furthest throw in the women's discus we've seen since 1989.
Really big.
Gosh, if I wasn't such a sophisticated man, I might think about ripping my shirt off about now.
Right?
Undoubtedly, this was the greatest weekend in discus throwing ever. It's not even close, and that's just fact. But sadly, when something is too good to be true, it usually is. If it wasn't obvious thus far, the throwers had a massive helping hand at their back for this meet. The wind.
It's a skill to be able to fly the discus in the wind, and I'm really fortunate with how the results played out today.
Yep, that's the exploit. Sounds a bit silly, doesn't it? But I assure you, this isn't just any wind. It's advanced wind. Because this meet took place in small town Ramona, Oklahoma, a town located in the heart of Tornado Alley, a collection of states so susceptible to unique weather patterns and high winds, they see upwards of 500 tornadoes per year. You see, when it comes to the discus, unlike sprinting, there is no wind radar or wind considerations at all. The throw will always count as long as you stay inside the circle. And while that might seem outrageous, even on a common sense level, in most cases, truthfully, the wind is usually a non-issue. Elite discus competitions usually take place in a stadium, where wind interference does exist, but due to some level of sheltering, offers a fair and semi-regulated experience. And on the lesser occasion, amateur-style meets can take place in an open field, more susceptible to the elements. But gusts have to be ridiculously strong to majorly alter the course of a 2-kilo discus hurtling through the air at 70 miles per hour. But that's just it. The gusts have to be ridiculously strong. And humans, being the weaselly, conniving creatures they are, will always find a way to use whatever they can to their advantage. And in the case of the discus, that would be a legal open field meet in the great Oklahoman plains of Tornado Alley, where winds on average are some of the highest in the world. And on this very day, Alekna's world record throw was measured at a tailwind of 5.1 meters per second. at ground level. That's enough wind to turn a 10-second flat sprinter into a 9.8 guy. Imagine what it can do to a 2-kilogram discus completely airborne. Well, you don't have to, because during the last 2 years of this meet's existence, we've seen world and personal records absolutely massacred. Of the top 10 marks ever thrown in the men's discus, 5 of them now come from Ramona, Oklahoma, 4 from the 2025 iteration alone, and that isn't counting Alekna's or Denny's secondary throws, in which case they would flood this leaderboard. The original world record was a legendary mark by Germany's Jürgen Scholt, a 74.08 meter stadium throw, a mark that lasted 37 years for good reason. It was, and still is, the largest improvement made to the world record since its inception in 1912, as well as this era being absolutely sauced to the gills. Yet, in 2 years, this record has been dog-walked 4 times. 37 years means nothing in Ramona. And just delving a little deeper into the major notable throwers this meet, the world record holder Alekna has never come within 3 meters of his top throws outside of Ramona. And after initially breaking the world record last year, he wouldn't throw within 4 meters of that throw all season. Matt Denny, who clobbered Jürgen's 37-year-old mark twice this past week, has never thrown over 70 meters outside of the Oklahoman Plains. And of 5 global championships in his career, he has 1 bronze medal to show. Lawrence Okoye had been struggling for years, barely managing 65-meter throws since his NFL career. Boom, 70 meters out of thin air. Allman, who was a modern-era discus great, throwing 70 meters twice last year, going undefeated the entire season, back-to-back Olympic golds. Right now, she simply isn't in form yet to say the least, but somehow just destroyed anything she's done thus far. But all of this is just the tip of the iceberg. Of the 31 world-class athlete profiles I manually checked at this meet, 27 of them had a personal best from Ramona, Oklahoma. That's 87% of athletes. And these aren't small personal bests either. These are on average 2 to 4 meters further than anything else in their career. And I can't help but reiterate, this meeting has only been around for 2 years. Some of these throwers' careers span for over a decade, and yet over 87% of personal bests come from here. And just for a visual reference, in the case of Mika Sosna, the difference in his best throw outside of Ramona and his PB at Ramona is this much. The discus was one of the most exciting events last year. Allman was a superstar on the women's side and threw big on every occasion she could. Alekna was a 21-year-old blooming talent who was throwing 70 meters regularly at the start of the season without the help of the Oklahoman winds. And even then, he got upset at both Euros and the Olympics because men's discus is just that deep. My intention isn't to invalidate how great the current batch of throwers is. It's quite literally the strongest we've ever seen it, consistently getting more 70-meter marks than any other era, excluding the windy throws. But I'll be honest, I have a pretty strong belief these records and results need a serious asterisk next to them. Is it really okay that we allow a future where each year we get records that can only be reproduced at one specific meeting under the perfect exploitable conditions in April? I'd really like to hear your thoughts on the throws going down out there. Like honestly, I can't even falter the athletes for wanting to go out there and do it. Not only are the marks obviously legal, massive incentive, but the pure bliss to huck a discus out there with some incredible wins, just to see how far you can make it fly. It's one of those moments that excites the soul. I do really appreciate they had a wind gauge out there, and I think testing a wind gauge for certain throw events is the best course of action, especially at open field meetings like Ramona. First, building a profile of what wins and how much is good or bad, before one day setting a maximum allowable limit. And if you want an extreme opinion, possibly resetting the world records to only allow wind-legal throws and only allowing pass marks done inside a stadium. Oh, that would be devilish, wouldn't it? But, in the most likely chance that none of this happens, see you next year when Alekna turns 23 and inevitably edges closer to an 80-meter throw.